Hi, it's me again. I know it's been a very long time since I've uploaded a video, but this is basically in response to an email that from Brent, my Canadian friend, that I met through the channel, and we stay in pretty regular communication, but I'd sent him an email a couple days ago now. I'd been going through my email. I email myself stuff all the time, and it was something I'd sent back in 2017 that's a NASA document. It says Future Strategies and Issues, Future Warfare, circa 2025. The future is now. The bots, Borgs, and humans welcome you to 2025. Now, this is basically a roadmap of tech that they had back in 2001 and where they saw it headed by 2025. A lot of it is so sci-fi that, it's no wonder that people just can't wrap their head around what's actually happening right now. But if you want this document, it's at stopthecrime.net, but I couldn't find it easily. So email me at grammaspixie@protonmail.com. GRAMMASPIXIE. Grandma's Pixie, protonmail.com. I'll send it to you. I told you, they have all this stuff written out. It's there. Stopthecrime.net is a good place to find a lot of, the crazy stuff that they've put out. But anyway, as I closed the email, I had said, I hope all is well in your little piece of the world. And then I thought, with what's going on up there, their prime minister literally cannot walk down the street without being accosted. Now, the little weasel deserves it. But their justice minister this past week came out and said that your right to private property is not absolute in Canada. And they're seeing the same shortages and price, and it's crazy everywhere. But he understood what I meant, and he responded that they're seeing some shortages, and it's not terrible yet, but he can't convince his wife of just what is happening. And since I don't have a whole lot of time to respond with some things, I thought, there's a lot of people that don't see what's happening. So this is video response. Now, can you see my garden back there? In the last 2 years, look up, 95 food production plants destroyed since 2021. 95. Some of them were hit by planes, some spontaneously combusted, whatever. You can't tell me that they were all accidents. But let me try to stick to my notes here so I don't run out of time. Our guy is also telling us that, our constitutional rights, the second specifically, is not absolute. But they've been telling us for 2 years now that the grid could go down. They've been warning us of world famine for 2 years, water shortages, and all of this. So, we've lost 95 food production plants. There's a channel, Southern Prepper 1. He is doing boots on the ground reporting. People are sending in things that they're seeing in their area, what's going on in their business. It's not good. The supply chains, we're just now beginning to see it's going to get so much worse. Truck parts, tires, tractor parts, just common everyday things that you can't get. Supply chains are breaking down. Now, water shortages. There are videos all over YouTube of what's happening at Lake Mead and Lake Powell and some of these other reservoirs. And last summer, I did a video telling you what was going on in California, where their dams were pretty close to capacity, and they were just letting it out. They cut off the farmers. So, how much of our food comes from California? Also, that's a hydroelectric dam, Hoover Dam. So, what does that mean for us? Saudi Arabia, they're selling our water, not only to Saudi Arabia, they're selling our water to other countries. And then they're cutting our farmers off. Ice Age Farmer is another channel that's been tracking for years crop losses and some of the regulations that are being passed all over and how it affects the food chain. he's a good one to follow. I've got a video in my playlist that's him from, it's probably more than a month old now, announcing Biden announces food shortages. Watch that video. The first 7.5 minutes will tell you what you need to know. Now, Adapt 2030 is another channel. He's a little harder to listen to because he talks about the 400-year cycle that we are entering into. This is a time when climate change, the earth goes through cycles, and the growing seasons become unpredictable. I think it was last year, Denver had less than 90 days between frost and frost. That's not enough time to get full crops in, and, certain crops. So the just-in-time deliveries that we've all grown to rely on, we're not going to be able to anymore. Now, if a farmer was able to pay the triple cost for fertilizer and herbicide, and some of them couldn't even find seeds, if they were able to get the crop into the ground, considering you can't find tractor parts and tires and the cost of fuel that is exploding, the propane that they use to dry the crop, and all of these things that we have shortages of, are they going to be able to get the crop out of the ground? Now, why is all this happening? Well, again, they're selling our water. Glenn Beck, there's a video on my playlist, love him or hate him. He's done a deep dive into this reset and the banking system that they're trying to force everyone into, the ESG banking. Watch that video. This is not good. The group that just met, well, the groups that just met in Switzerland at Davos and Geneva, these are the people that are making policy. They're the ones that Show Me Baby talks about with the pretty hands, the ones that can't do anything for themselves. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't pump their own gas, but they have private jets. Those people. Now, they've always been there, but our governments were supposed to protect us from this. And, well, you see how this has worked out. Something to be, well, first of all, if you want to know who and what I'm talking about, look up Yuval Noah Harari. Just type in Yuval. It'll come up. Now, he talks about the hackable human. That free will is a thing of the past. That's over. Surveillance under the skin. This is what they're looking at. Now, because of all these shortages that are just beginning, there will be rationing. Now, Ice Age Farmer thinks that they will tie your rations to your QR code. Now, that's your Jabby verification. They are doubling down on this. The documents have been, the court-ordered released documents that they use to approve this have been, since March 1st, released at the 1st of every month. And what it shows is not good. And we're seeing that. We have sudden adult death syndrome now. And they are currently asking for approval for 6-month-olds who have statistically zero risk. But they're pushing forward. This is part of their plan. So, what can we do? Get yourself a pressure canner. This is a 23 quart one. It has the gauges, the ones with the gauges. And get extra parts, get extra gauges, extra rocker, extra seals, all of those things. Because, as I said, the just-in-time deliveries can't be counted upon. The grid, the electrical can't be counted upon, but you can can your own meat. You can can milk and whipped cream. There's videos all over. I didn't bring my book out here. You can get I've got a Ball canning book that tells you how long to pressure and at what pressure, and it tells you how to do it. There's videos all over YouTube on that. Get yourself plant identification guides. This is a gardening guide. It's probably not a bad idea to get that either. Companion gardening. Anyway, look it up. Edible wild plants. A lot of these plants that are growing in the backyard are not only edible, but they're medicinal. And speaking of medicine, if you listen to Southern Prepper 1, a lot of people aren't able to get their medicine. So a lot of doctors and nurses are quitting and places are being closed. What do you do where there are no doctors? Now this basically tells you, your diet, food, clean water, exercise, sun. I'm out here in the sweating. It's really humid today. But, should something goes wrong and there's no doctor, what do you do? First aid supplies. We need some of those. Water. Get a couple of these. You can get Life Straw, but it costs more and it doesn't do near the water. You can there are videos to show you how to make your own Berkey, because Berkeys are rather expensive. But, if the grid goes down, the water stops because it's an electrical system that pumps it through. Have plans for, if there's a rolling blackout and the water stops, what do you do? If the transformer blows, according to Southern Prepper 1, there's a backlog for transformers 18 plus months because those things come from China. We're reliant on our adversaries for a lot of the way we live. Now, seeds. If you don't have the space to grow a garden like that, there are container gardens, there's vertical gardens, there's other things that you can do. There's microgreens. I'd like to look into microgreens, but there's a little more entailed with that. But, it's important that we all start growing a little something because, these systems that we've relied upon are crumbling. Now, supposedly there are alternate structures being built that are supposed to be in their finishing stages, but we can't count on that. Okay, our way of life is under threat right now. In fact, everything that we've known, they've destroyed. What does apocalypse mean? It means the unveiling. That which is hidden will be uncovered. Well, their criminality, I've been talking about, the lawlessness and how they've passed laws to protect themselves and their buddies and screw us. This has been happening for a long, long time. And it's just now coming to culmination. Their agendas, the 21, well, they didn't make it by 21. Now it's 2025, 2030, 2050. They have all these things written down to when they wanted to meet the milestones. And as they're saying, we're not moving fast enough. So either, you rely on their system, which is going to be rationing. And every time this has happened in the past, it's not ended well. Look up Holodomor, Holodomor. They want 2.0. Why? Because there's a lot of us that understand what they've done. And they can't control us all. And that's what they want. They want total control. Surveillance under your skin. I keep saying that there are separate factions that are warring. So that's been kind of a good thing, that they can't make up their minds what they want. And they're fighting amongst themselves and throwing each other under the bus. And if you can remove yourself from the panic of it all and see what's happening, it's actually kind of comical. But, in the meantime, everything that we've known is collapsing around us. So it's important to have backup plans. If the power goes out, if the water stops, if the farmer's crops fail, if the trucks stop, all of those things, what do we do? Because all of those things are under threat right now. Now, my message from the very beginning is it doesn't matter where you stand ideologically. This has been done to all of us. Red team, blue team, doesn't matter. They've all done this to us. We have to build alternative structures. When your government no longer serves you, what do? And they haven't served us in a long time. They serve themselves. Now, we have to come together. There is no way of getting out of this comfortably, but it doesn't have to be as bad as what they want. So we have to come together for our children, because if we don't do it now, they won't be able to. And that's just where we're at. We can do it. Much love. Gotta go.